She's right. I have to take that from the top, but apparently we miss. Our
For
mics were muted. Very sorry, people. Got to have to run this over again for persons who are on Facebook and YouTube.
thank you very much,
Thank you very
Nautica,
much,
Anika.
Nautica. What can we do? What will we do with the Nautica?
You
See,
understand?
she's a soul there.
And Anika, and
And
Anika. We
Anika
have
too.
Anika there.
All right.
We're not here. Yeah.
I'm sure you guys are here now. Can you confirm for us?
Let's see. Let's see. But for those locked on via the radio, we thank you for joining us. We hope you had a blessed day.
Mm-hmm.
And we okay,
I
nice. So
agree.
they're hearing. Yeah. So this afternoon, it's another episode 25 of the Money Talk. When myself and Sabi started off, we were not too sure as to where exactly the Lord would have led us with the Money Talk, but we can look back thus far and say what a journey it has been.
Mm-hmm.
And for those that have been with us week over week upon week, episode upon episode, I do believe and I do hope that you have been blessed, challenged, edified with all the various topics that we have discussed thus far.
Right.
And this afternoon it's a very interesting one. So we really would like to get your input
Definitely.
in the discussion,
Definitely.
all our listeners,
Mhm.
even those that are not on social media. Sabi,
We'll take the calls.
we'll
and
take
so
the
on.
calls
Yeah,
today.
yeah, definitely. Because we have a
Yeah,
lot of questions, a lot of things to talk about, which we'd love for you guys to be a part of today. All right.
definitely.
So don't shy out. Your opinion matters. All right.
Yeah, let's hear because sometimes something is working wonderfully in your situation,
Yeah.
so you can share on it.
Mm-hmm. True.
But without to cease speaking in the parables, today's topic is marriage and money.
M and M.
M&M. Right? So we're going to be looking at the
Wow.
married couple and how they manage their finances.
Mhm.
All right.
It's also important for persons who are not married as yet, the
Mhm.
plans to get married. It's a good discussion, a good topic for you guys to pay attention to. Right?
Definitely.
God, I feel like we should put a disclaimer here. We are not professionals in giving financial counsel to people. All right, and we don't want you guys to say, "Oh, well, you heard that on the Money Talk, and so it didn't work when you go and try it."
Mhm.
Yeah. So our disclaimer here is our opinion, and you can feel free to, if you wanna try something that you hear that you think makes sense, but don't hold us responsible. All right, keep that in mind,
Please don't.
because we know the money thing is a funny thing. So when it comes to that, the reality is there's no one way. Our way or how we choose to say might be a good way, might not be the way that work for you. So
Yeah.
don't hold us
In your
hostage towards,
situation. Yes, Sabi. So you wanna lead it off this afternoon?
Yeah, well, since we're talking about marriage, the Bible declares in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 24, it says, "For this reason shall a man leave his father and mother and join to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." All right, so we know that's established. So this is one of the portions from since the beginning of time that God has used to say to people, this is the way. Leave your mother and father, all right?
Mhm.
And the Bible didn't say like, okay, leave your mother and father and in that portion in particular and go and get married. But God is a covenant God, and He's a God that if the word husband and wife exists, there's a way that people become husband and wife. So He didn't say go and shack up either. So if you say you didn't see married there, you didn't see shack up there either. All right. But the interesting thing about the portion there also is that the Bible never really said to us that the two shall have one storehouse. It never said that. So you could look at that two ways. People might say, well, the Bible didn't say that when we married or if we are together, we should put all our money all our eggs in the same basket, as people that say, or put all our money in the same bank account. And neither it didn't say that we should not. So you realize that boils down to some personal preferences and whatever you think works for you you will need to
Mm.
consider. But at the end of the day, as we said, money thing is a funny thing, and money and finances is one of the most common reasons, one of the most common, um, I would say, thing that breaks up relationship,
Yeah.
especially marital relationship. Um, I've heard many stories today. I probably heard about two different stories for the day, right? About people who had to go apart, you know, and how others treat, one party treated the other as a result of money and how it made them feel, and as a result of that, they leave something cool in their heart towards the other person, and so you have a breaking away. So money remains a number one issue today that people face after getting married. Most people don't even have a plan how to deal with money in their marriage or in their
Yeah.
relationship. So when you don't go into it with a plan, then you have serious problem. You understand? Serious problem. So we have some questions we love for you guys to share with us, your opinions on. All right. So the first question is, how should married people handle their money? All right. That's a question. You could feel free to start sending your messages and so on. How should married people handle their money? Is there a fixed way that can yield great benefits to the marital relationship when you're dealing with money? So is this one way that if you do it this way, we guarantee you that you will get awesome results?
Mm-hmm.
Is there something like that? That's another question. And or do you have a simple, agreeable plan for your finances before and after getting married? That's a question for persons who probably already, um, planning to get married, and persons who probably, um, how can you put this one? If you have an agreeable plan before getting married or after getting married, yeah. So you done married already. So do you have a plan that you can use and say, okay, both of us are on the same page here? You understand? I learned about some personalities today, God.
Yeah.
One is, you have the person in a relationship that has what you call a driver personality. When it comes to money, they are a driver. All right. So they like to invest. They like to invest. That was so eye opening for me. They're like, these are the person like to invest. And they have the amiable person who is more friendly with
Mm.
money. Right? So, and then you have those who are the analytics when it comes to dealing with the money. So just imagine I'm an analytic, and my wife now, let's assume she is a amiable person with the money. In her mind, every time she like to see people happy. So she's
Mm-hmm.
such a loving person. So she will want to give to her family, she will want to give to her friends. Anybody ask her, she ready to give. I'm so analytical in my thinking with my money now. I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, she just giving away money like that. She crazy. You understand? Yes, God said to give, but why should be she be just giving money? So just imagine now, both of us, we in this relationship and we never understood our personality where regarding money is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have this clash that can take place now. Because she like to give without even thinking. For me, I'm analyzing why should I give?
Yeah.
And the two personalities don't mesh together. But can it mesh together? That's the question. And at the end of the day, if two of us are just two amiable persons, then what would happen when we give away everything that we have? There's no one there to analyze and think and say, yeah, let's
Yeah.
give, but
Yeah.
you
Put some
understand?
measures in place.
Yeah. And if a man only want to invest his money in business just to get more, and the more he get, the more he want to invest, he ain't want to share. He ain't being loving, he ain't want to be caring.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Mm-hmm.
see, you could have problems there.
Yeah.
But that leaves us in a place with a question, which is, how do you then, persons with different personality, how do you then merge and mesh together and work together to be able to get a good outcome in your marital situation? All right. So let's try to answer some of the question. How should married people handle their money? All right. Um, when people hear that question, some people might hastily conclude by saying, "Do what works for you."
Mm-hmm.
The
What makes you happy?
yeah, do whatever make you happy. And to me, that's a hopscotch approach when I think about it. You just do anything that works for you. I mean, really and truly, you find that make much sense. Why is there, me ask the question, is there a fixed way to handle it? Should you just do whatever works for you? In other words, uh, husband will just do what he wants with the money. Wife will do whatever she wants with the money. And the thing is, sometimes the husband spending the wife money and his money. And you see, when you go that part, but you're talking about husband money and a wife money, then you're asking yourself the question, um, are you guys really married?
Yeah.
So where does the husband money comes into the picture? And
Mm-hmm.
you're talking a marital situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you just take the hopscotch approach, that to me can create a lot of problems. You understand?
Yeah.
It can. Now we ain't saying that man, well, we know man's supposed to lead and so on. And sometimes you just need to figure out who's a better manager for the money
But yeah, true.
and find a way to I mean you don't want got eh, every time you go to buy something in the supermarket you have to call your wife. Or I had to call my wife and say, oh, babes, allowed to buy that? Or the money? That's like
Yeah.
bondage in a relationship. So it brings about the question about responsibility and how responsible someone is or each couple is to know what are their priorities and how to handle their spending so that each person remain in a comfortable position, at least not just comfortable but in a good position and to be happy at the end of the day.
I think
You
that's one of the
understand?
main things. Yeah, that's
So
one of the main things.
so if he says but what makes me happy might not make my husband happy. So if you take the hopscotch approach and say do whatever work, then one person might be constantly striving to be happy. You understand what I'm saying?
At the detriment of the
Of the
other.
other,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So that kind of brings us to how organized, yeah, are you with your finances in a relationship? You want to put in anything there?
But before we go on to that,
Mm-hmm.
just to add a little bit to what you were saying previously, I just thought of this example. Some women they like to spend money, Sabi.
Yeah,
You understand? Um, so it's like I know some women they have this mentality that
man
what
too,
I
boy.
make is mine, boy.
My money.
You understand?
Man too. But
And
maybe you might want to say some wives. Because you have to look at it like that. If you say some women,
Mhm.
then you'll be wrong. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Let's just backtrack. If the person is dating or courting, the intention is to get married. Do you think that, okay, you have had date night, as you would call it, you're
Mhm.
going to a restaurant. Do you think the man should be responsible for buying all the food?
Well, Sabi, you
if
see,
you
when you're dating, the
uh,
men does tend to want to put out their best foot, eh?
see that's a conversation. That's a conversation that many people don't have because
Yeah.
right there and then, no, right?
So the men that start a trend before they get married, and then after they get married is a different case because now it's two of us, and whereas when we were dating, I used to cover all the expenses when we go out,
Right.
but now that we married, it's two of us in the house.
All right. So I heard one person said, well, what they did when they were at that place was they basically, we will take that comment just now because we really want the
Mhm.
comments today. So what they did was when they were dating, first of all, quoting
Mhm.
or planning to get married, her money was her money, his money is his money. We ain't
Mhm.
married yet. So his money is not my money because we ain't married yet.
Right.
And vice versa. However, they would share the meal half half.
Okay.
So is it that this time he buys and next time she buy? Or they go and they split the cost down the aisle. You take half, I take half. No, that's because communication took place and it was
Mhm.
established. But that was only relevant for the type of relationship they had at the time or the point of the relationship where they were in the relationship. So now when you move from just that and you're going to a different level where now you get married, do you think it makes sense to you, God? Do you think it makes sense or for the listeners for you to continue doing it that way? That you check all the bills in the house and you say, well, you're responsible for that, I responsible for that, and then my money is my money. And after that, once the bills are taken care of and we have food in the house, if I'm responsible for food and I'll buy the food, if you have to pay the bills, you pay the bills. And then one thing remaining from there is mine.
I wouldn't support that position. Reason being, when you're dating,
Mm-hmm.
you have individual managers.
Right.
So I managing my money, and the person I'm dating, she's managing her money.
Right.
There is no obligation to come together as a couple at that time to pool your resources
Right.
for the benefit of the
The
marriage
marriage. Yeah.
or the family.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get married, I believe that's when the dynamics change.
Mm-hmm.
Because now, well, as the scripture said, is no longer two, but now one.
Right.
So we are now joined as one, right? But it gets a bit tricky with
Go ahead.
it. We will go into it a bit later.
Yeah.
There's a trickiness in how the money is spent now.
Right.
All right. I'm not advocating that we split the bills,
Mm-hmm.
but I believe the discussion needs to take place first,
Right.
and we need to discuss whether it be that we set aside monies for bills,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we know this is bills for the month.
Mm-hmm.
So I paid, you paid, whoever pays it.
Mm-hmm.
We understand how bills will be paid. We understand how other expenses will be taken care of, and what happens to the balance.
So let's take that comment and see how we feel.
Yeah,
My friend
Nautica is
Nautica
a
says,
suggestion.
yes, her suggestion is that we have full banking accounts. One common account for household bills, one common account for family savings. Then husband has his account and wife has her own account. Remember we said that there's no fixed way. Or we asked the question, should there be a fixed way? And if this method is going to work for you, Nautica, the question will it work for me? Depending on the
Hmm.
type of individual I am, my personality, my mindset towards money.
Yeah.
You understand? So while I might say um, this is a very good way to do it, let's ask this next question. What is your mindset on money? Or what was your mindset on money before getting married? Let's answer that question.
Hmm.
And how did you come about having that particular mindset? Whatever the mindset is, however you feel about it. In discussion prior to this, me and God was having, and Zach, we saw something. And one of the things, and I would say specifically for women, bro, because at the end of the day, men are equally spoiled boy. You know what I mean? Because as we were saying, some ladies growing up, they get their hair done.
Hmm.
They get their nails done as young teenagers. They get clothes. They don't have to ask a question. They say I need it and it's there.
Hmm.
They look at their mother and their father's relationship. When it matures and it's to a place where things could have been done, but they don't have a clue how it was prior to the place they see it. And the reason sometimes they don't have a clue is because the parents themselves, they are the one making that husband and that wife in the family. They're creating a monster. How are they creating the monster? Because they don't even allow the children to understand the importance of budgeting and creating a mindset, helping them to have a good mindset. Now the thing is one thing for the parents to teach something. It don't mean that they're teaching the correct thing, as well as they could be instilling something, some principle. Because when you put principle in an individual, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
But if you put opinions and you keep putting opinion where you feel work. So if I am as a father, I be like the best thing for me to do, God, is to instill principles. Because principles would never fail.
Hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So some of these parents will do that. Instead, they grow up their children, male as well as female, on fables that listen, a woman, for example, might spoil her son. Everything you want, you get.
Hmm.
He get into a relationship with a woman, and the first thing he start doing now automatically is comparing that
Hmm.
woman in a relationship with to his mother.
Yeah. How the mother is the
And
spoiler.
my mother's love for me now, this is how I'm able mother now. She use money to express her love to her son, if that's the only chance she has. And then that boy grew up like a spoiled brat because his mother spoiled him, and the father might not be the one doing that. So he just tell himself, woman have to give him money. You understand? And vice versa. The father may be spoiling that daughter. He address he address clothes, just name it, gadget, whatever she wants, she just say,
Yeah, she
Dad,
gets it.
Dad, I see that. Yeah, and tomorrow you see that. You get where I'm coming from. So,
Mm-hmm.
Dad, I see that. I want it.
Mm-hmm.
And by tomorrow, Dad will just show up. He don't give no, he don't even say, okay, well, this is what you need to do in order to get that. I need you to work principle. You
Yeah.
understand? I want to show you a practical way which I can probably help you to achieve it. But before you get it, how about you try to do this and that first? Let me see how you're functioning. And I teach you that you have to work to get what you want. So people grew up like that. Now they reach the teenage ages and they're still being spoiled. They gone over into young adult age and they're still being spoiled, just receiving whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
So that person mindset now is kind of, unless they start looking into money themselves and try to understand things, if they take it for what it is, they go into adulthood, getting married with that type of
Yeah,
mindset.
mindset.
They could either do one or two things. They could expect it from the same thing from people. They could expect it from whoever they get involved with, as well as they could end up becoming like the person who treat them a particular way.
Mm-hmm.
And they will justify love in the relationship by that. And if they're not getting back what they're giving, you see the problem.
Yeah.
The problem becomes, well, they might just come to the conclusion, I don't love me because look at what I'm doing for you, but you're stingy. But you
Yeah.
just get married to an analytical person. You get married to somebody whose parents on the opposite side uh, was drilling into them some good principles about investing the money and making the money grow when you want to show love by spending all the money
By
alone.
spending, yeah.
So you have a problem. So you see where the personality and the mindset comes in, or based on what has been taught, whether it be verbally or non-verbally, because people learn by looking and observing. And if a child, male or female, observe all of that over the years, then you know what happens.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. So the question you have to ask yourself is basically what was the mindset? What was the person's mindset, or both person who were married? What's their mindset before getting married? So before you get married, you need to have some open discussion about money.
And money is not one of the discussions that persons easily get into.
Yeah.
It's one, and based on our culture as well,
Yeah.
it's hard at times for persons to open up about their finances.
Especially if they're making money as a manager, and it be kind of embarrassing. You tell
Yeah,
yourself,
sometimes they have a lot of loans they paying back for, you know. So it's not an easy discussion to just have openly, um, especially before marriage.
Mm-hmm.
When you're married, you might feel more obligated to be as open,
Right.
but before you get married, it is not a discussion that persons just jump to the forefront and say, "Let's talk about finances."
And from experience also, I've seen where persons, a man in a relationship and boy, for the girlfriend say, let's go there. He on it.
Hmm.
And he's painting a picture that's unrealistic, right?
Hmm.
And yes, he loves her, but he's painting a picture that is unrealistic. And
Yeah.
she thinks to herself that he have a whole lot of money, and she say, look how he takes care of me.
Hmm.
You understand? He makes me feel special. And he's not talking about what he don't have. Instead, he's trying to prove how much he love with the little he has. And she's not seeing that because she don't know. She just taking it at face value. What she sees, she
Yeah.
believes. And now he gets married. And she asks a question. And you realize you have a problem. No, you can't continue to do the things. In fact, sometimes you go and get married and you take a big loan.
Yeah.
And you take that loan and you get married when taking that loan. Then what happens then? You have a loan to pay back. Now you have bills, you have to eat, and have no mommy and daddy pocket to
Hmm.
fall back on the food to what you go do, you go leave your mother house as a married individual and go back home now and say, Mommy, I need some food from you and my wife there, things hard in the house. You understand? So you see that money conversation is a very important one to have.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Very, very important.
It is very.
So God, do you think there's a fixed way or recommended way that can yield great benefit to a marriage or relationship?
I don't think there's a fixed way.
Okay, let's take
After going through the material for the program, I don't think there's a fixed way.
okay, so let's see what Anika have to say. She says, one way I would say is that once you're married, the couple could have one account. In that way, there's more transparency on how much funds are being spent. No one's hiding their money.
Yeah. Well, true, true, true.
So, Anika, are you recommending that that's a good way? Are you saying that uh, if we do it that way, most likely you might see some greater yield to the benefit to the relationship? I would like for you to answer that question.
You
God
know,
said there's no fixed way.
I'm smiling because we're gonna later on
Get into
we're
it.
gonna get into it.
All right, we're still laying the
We're gonna
foundation.
look at some pros and cons of that managing the monies that way. You understand?
Yeah,
Because the same personality,
yeah,
right? Sometime, well, you know me, I'm more on the reserve side.
yeah.
You know, um, I guess more analytical,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then someone might be more on the given side,
Mm-hmm.
uh, or they just like free with money.
Yeah.
And me analyzing the situation, but how this person only spending money so, right? So it's based on the personalities and the situations,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it might be better for example, Nautica's suggestion
Mm-hmm.
where we have the four accounts, right? We split up the money. We have a common household bills account. We have a savings account,
I actually like
family,
that idea.
and then you have your money.
Mm-hmm.
I have my money. You could blow it away and spend.
And come ask me for some after. See you are saying, and then you can have
Well,
a
no, you
possible
know,
problem like that.
based on the budget, and we're going to get into a little bit into the budgeting, right?
Mm-hmm.
But based on the budget, that is what you're allowed for the month,
Okay.
right? So you have your allowance for the month. I have my allowance for the month.
Right.
If in the first 2 days you want to go and shop down in Spiceland Mall and buy everything you see, partner come here, you know, and that's how you want to spend yours, then all the better for you. You happy with that?
Mm.
But I might say, not okay. So this is what I have, and I have 4 weekends to go out and enjoy myself.
Mm.
Split it up between the 4 weekends, and my money coming and meet the next payday. But you might be there and it's like 1 week of fun you having.
Well, you know, this morning I was just thinking about something, and I feel like I was telling my wife this. I said, babes, you know, if at the end of each year you decide together that you want to save money and you see having a plan actually plan to save is like having money is having
Mhm.
a plan to save, a plan to develop things in your house. You have a plan. If you have repairs you want to do or addition or anything like that, you have a plan. You have to have a plan. Your money is, and always talking
Mhm.
about that last time also, that you need to find ways to cut up your money.
Yeah.
Like that's why I said I kind of like it now because approach there. As a family, there are many different things. You have emergency fund. I believe it's important to have that. But when you, in the absence of these plans, what I recognize is that you tend to feel when you didn't plan for something that comes up, it infringes on the plans that you have. So you didn't forethink anything,
Mhm.
right? The days when you are well, you need to think about just in case you become sick. You check what I'm saying? Because if bro, if you don't think about a money to give to somebody and you have everything planned out,
Mhm.
especially the emergency part in a
Mhm.
relationship. If an emergency pops up and you was planning to build a house and now you have to go and push this plan further down the line.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? Because you didn't plan for an emergency show itself. In that relationship, you would have problems. So I think having a better idea as to what you want to do with the money as a couple, married
Yeah.
couple, is better than just not knowing what you want to do with the money. There are many things asking for our money these days. Many things, bro. Many things. The people
Yeah.
on the radio, the people on the television, people on the street, everything asking for you to spend. That's just
Mhm.
how the world is.
Mhm.
So you need to create what I would say is a plan, right? That is best suited for you and your family. My
Yeah.
plan cannot be your plan. And that's why I would say there's no fixed way, because all of our situations are different.
True.
You understand? So we need to have a plan. A plan is what's going to help you to know where to direct the money and why. Then you would feel more fulfilled. And then when having the plan, not I have a plan as the husband and the
Mm-hmm.
wife don't have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the husband have a plan, the wife don't have a plan, the wife plan to feel already.
Yeah.
Because anything that comes up, you come and say, well, let me buy that. And they say, well, yeah, but I don't want to spend money there because this is what I plan to do the money. Then she come and say, well, this is what you plan, but you ask me what I think and what I plan to do the money.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore you have problem in that relationship. Talk about no. If you go on bankrupt, there's an emotion that goes with bankrupt for females in particular. What is that emotion, God? The insecurity feeling. I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel secure no more.
Yeah.
We are broke. You understand? And the question is, what do you do when you reach in that kind of bankrupt situation? We might be just looking at it like common, but bro, it does happen to people.
Yeah, it does. It
And
does.
sometimes the bankruptcy could be because maybe the husband has a business that he's involved in, a private business, and the business just ain't going right, and things start to fall apart. So what happens then with the husband? Because he ain't no boss to say give him a advance. Things
Mm-hmm.
bad, he can't go to
Mm-hmm.
the bank and ask for anything because, you understand? So then the wife know. One man says, at that time you need to give your wife an extra hug, a non-sexual hug daily, or two, or three, and just comfort your wife and tell
Mm-hmm.
her don't worry, everything will be okay. Whilst you guys now put all your head in one and try and work towards a plan to get out of the situation in. And some people are not bankrupt, but they are basically living from hand to chest. So by the time at the end of the month come or middle of the month, there's no money and creates
Yeah.
frustration. You understand what I'm saying? Frustration, frustration. What is the word? Frustration.
Frustration.
Yeah? And that frustration could cause the marriage to go on the rocks, as what people are saying. You understand? So you see why whatever situation you're in, when you're married, the two have to remain one flesh. Because when I hungry, you hungry. When I thirsty, my children and my wife, everybody thirsty.
All
You
of us is
understand?
one.
We all are one. The children came from our flesh.
Yeah.
So we should think about things together and not whatever way come up, make sure it is a together way and not a I way or your way alone.
Yeah.
Understand? So that was a note from the spirit.
Yeah, a pleasant good night to all our the
Yes.
viewers that
Good night and blessings.
recently came on. Today on the Money Talk, we're discussing marriage and money, and we look forward to your involvement.
In the discussion.
Feel free to send in your comments as we go through the material. Um, how is it that you think married couples, should manage their financing? What recommendations do you have for persons as it relates to how you think they should approach the whole topic of finances in their marriage?
And I like this comment here from Nadika. She says the idea is putting a plan in place that works for the family in agreement after having that discussion
Discussion.
and also working the plan. Because some people they just planning to break their own hearts.
Hmm.
You ever heard that one before? Yeah, because your plan and your plan just stays right there. So what do? Your plan, you put a timeline to your plan, and at the end of the time, you realize, what, I ain't scratched the surface yet. You
Yeah.
look back at all that happened and you find all the reasons why you're breaking your own heart. You'll find all the reasons why you didn't accomplish your plan. You understand? Procrastination is the biggest one. And then, as I realized, there's always something that's going to come up to fight against your plan.
Hmm.
Something that you would want to justify. It would be justifiable. So when you make a plan, sometimes you have to be strong-minded. If you have a little emergency fund for the love, you have that. If something comes up and boy, you have to decide now whether or not you consider, okay, I didn't have more in the love box.
Hmm.
That's for whoever needs it. Then I might go into my investment box and take something from there. I trust God, maybe God is telling me to do that. But apart from that, sometimes you have to learn to stay tight to the plan that you have for you and your family. Because if you don't do that, what would happen is like, or they'll be breaking all their heart again.
True.
And you'll be like, every year we planning. Yeah. And especially if the man that is the one that I could talk about what we could do, what we would do, and he ain't coming up every time. Well, babes, remember this happened and that caused us not to. And yeah, but we only spinning top in mud. We ain't going nowhere. And the woman started crying and thinking, I like to analyze the thing already. So the point is, sometimes, and not sometimes, but all the times, you need to make sure you make up your mind. Listen, I wanna do this. And the mountain come, we agree that $400 going aside for
Yeah.
this reason. Listen, man, and we have an emergency phone. The emergency phone, if something happen and we deplete the money there, what's the backup plan? Well, we don't have a choice. Life is more important than the money, so you go deep in the investment fund. So we will take out someday. But the point is, you have a plan and you have something there which you think out. We ain't saying that every time thing gonna go. You don't know the future, so you don't know how everything go flow. But no plan is not a good thing. It's better
Yes, have a
it's better
plan.
you have a plan. Because no plan,
Yeah.
as we mentioned before, and I heard years ago that if a man don't have a plan, instead of a plan, no plan is a plan to fail.
A plan to fail.
You understand? So have a plan. The plan will get you excited. When you see you start working the plan as a family, as a married couple, and you see things start going in the direction that you anticipate because you trust God, you pray about your plan, and before you make financial decisions, sometimes major one, if not all of them. When you talk about going out and buy food, thank God for the money to buy the food when He provided. But there are some major decisions sometimes you want to make, and as a family, as a married couple, you need to pray about it before you make the decision. You understand what I'm saying? And sometimes the man want to do something not so well and good, or the woman, and it's just waste money in the long run. You look back and it's like, oh, I put 30 grand in that business there. And then, oh, but you see that just gone on the drain.
Yeah,
How much
getting
years,
into
all your
that.
work, you take all the money, all you put aside. You didn't think, you didn't pray. Ask God His directive on it as a married couple. And you just jump. So what do you think happened? You're living in regret, remorse. You have to work another 40 years to return that. You check what I'm saying? So you had to be wise on that. But you know, as you're talking about man, God, what do you think is a man? And let me ask the listeners, what do you think is the man's role in the family when it comes to dealing with the money? Do you think the man have a role in the family as to what happens? If you say yes, tell us why you say yes. And if you say no, tell us no. And if you say you're in between, tell us why you're in between. Justify your answer. All right? That you want to shoot or you just want to leave it there?
I want to see the comments first.
Uh, well, I beg of you guys to send in a comment for us. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So let me take this comment here in the meantime. Um, my friend here says, well, nothing wrong having a joint account with your partner if you both are married, but it depends on the type of partner you're married to. Because most people are married for different reasons. Example, because the guy is rich and they tend to be extravagant on things, while the other one may, or some guys may be rich and extravagant on things, while others may be thrifty with his or her spending. So you have to have a budget of expenditure and be responsible enough to to do what you can afford with what you have or what you cannot. I kind of mix up what she said there. All right, so you must have a budget of expenditure and be responsible, I guess she's saying. Um, to know what you can afford, I guess, and what you cannot, or know what we can afford and what we cannot. All right, so but these days, one person doing it all. She say, Papa, yo, marriage is not how I think it should be. No, some in it for the good looks are no plan.
But sorry, even as you mentioned that,
Mm,
looking back at how you were taught about finances is very very important.
yeah,
Because for example, I grew up in a household where my mother, she stayed at home. She looked after the house.
right,
My father was the one who went out and worked.
right,
Right. So some could say that, um, I might have grown up with a mentality that the man is supposed to provide.
right,
Right now, is that applicable in today's society? Is it that based on your marriage and, for example, how much the husband might be making, he is able to sustain such a household? No, because
Mm.
back then it was way different,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it all these things you need to look at, all these things you need to analyze.
All right. So Anika says, she says yes. She take the yes approach. She said because God made him head of the home from the beginning, and so he has to provide for the family. All right. Anybody else want to chime in here? You could call us too and give your views. The number is 403-1031.
1031.
You can give us a call. Let us know if you think that man's supposed to be the main provider in the house.
Sabi, even as we wait for the
Uh,
listeners to send in their comments, I have some statistics here. They
right.
say money fights are the second leading cause of divorce,
The first one, buddy.
infidelity,
Okay.
right? They say nearly half of all couples with 50,000 plus dollars in debt
Mm,
say money is the top reason for arguments.
okay.
So the more debts you have, is the more you tend to argue.
Oh, the more debts.
Yeah, the more
Oh,
debts.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So loans.
Loans, credit cards.
Yeah.
Mm.
1 in 3 people who have had a money argument with their spouse say they hid a purchase from their partner because they knew they wouldn't approve.
Got you ever did any pass?
But no, it was small stuff. It was small stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
I used to I
I
used
spend
to
a
get
$1,000 and buy something, and I'm bringing it home and
try to justify.
I try to justify it. That I made a decision, and I buy what I buy. I mean,
You live with the consequences.
I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like a man's supposed to, at some point in time, buy something that he likes. And if you can
Yeah.
afford it and it doesn't affect the family,
Mhm.
but if you tell the wife, well, babes are going to buy a fishing rod or some kind of, just be like, well, you have one already, so why you going to buy it again? I can hear she saying yes, in truth.
Yeah.
But you get a picture. So sometimes we as men, we tend to, and women too, I mean, some women love shoes, and
Yeah.
they would never stop buying shoes regardless of how much they have inside the house.
True. They
And,
always seen a new one.
and their shoes are in.
Hmm.
Weird enough, they have shoes all over the place. The closet full of our shoes. Women, we ain't pointing fingers at all. We just speaking the truth for those. If you can't fit your jaw, the string, by the way, maybe you should stop buying less shoes. Sell a couple of them. How much feet? Okay, you have one, you have two, you have how much shoes you go wear? Anyway, all yeah, don't put no big stone here. I won't get it. Go on, God.
Right? So they're saying 63% of couples
Mm,
with debts over 50,000, they feel anxious about talking about their personal finances.
right.
Hmm. So I guess they hide a lot.
So anxiety comes in, and especially when
Yeah.
things are down, and they see sometimes the debt they are in not able to service that debt because
Hmm. Hmm.
the debt is higher than the salary.
Yeah.
Now we understand that could be okay once you could manage the monthly amount that is there. You understand? And it,
Anik, Anik say we need a shoe for every
and you gotta put
outfit.
your screen on the screen. Let's take a Trevor Thompson comment here. He said you have to make a distinction between Western culture and Eastern culture. If you can afford it and your wife is happy to stay home, well, it's all
All
well.
is well, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
True.
even here, if you can afford it and your wife could stay home, I see no problem with that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To be honest. Why she don't to go and why you want your wife go and work for somebody and they're stressing her? Yeah, I mean, if she stay home and she cooking some good food for you and she making sure we going to the Proverbs 31 kind of woman there, even then, even though she's home, she's still thinking. And we have that there. We
Hmm.
making the comparison, looking at the man and we looking at the woman. You
Hmm.
understand? Because we friend says, yes, because this is what God says. God says, all right, he made man for him to be the head of the home. That we ain't getting more call, we ain't getting calls, I ain't getting more comment. But I want us to address this one a little bit and see if we can If we can just talk about it a little bit before we move on. I like how she said it because God made him head of the home.
Mhm.
But wait, let me take that comment from my partner. God, read it.
I think the man should be the head of the home, but it doesn't have to be a must if he isn't the main source. For example, if the man's salary is smaller, then he shouldn't feel too bad. But if the couple can come together and budget together, so thing is for the couple to make it work together. So true.
So is he saying that the one that make the most money, you know? So are you saying, bro, that the person in a relationship that makes the most money should be the head of the money? As the next question. What do you think? All right. My stance on it is this, right? God might have a different opinion, he might agree with me. Remember, this is my opinion, people. All right? Then when I say no, he ain't saying that. Well, my stance on it is this. I will agree that the man's supposed to be the head of the home.
Yeah.
However, we know some men, as we spoke about earlier on, they're not good managers. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Some men are not good managers. Some men are just they just they don't know how to deal with money.
Yeah. They could work. They could work hard.
They
They could
can make
bring
the
it
money,
in.
but they know how to waste the money.
Yeah.
And if you're that kind of man, stay away from spending the money. Put the money in your wife's hand. Now you see, yeah, when I say that, what comes to mind is you got married, and I'm assuming that you trust each other to say we will spend our lives together, the
Hmm.
rest of our lives together. What is mine is yours. In fact, I am yours and you are mine. So
Hmm.
that established, I would want to believe that trust is already in the picture. You understand what I'm saying, bro?
True. It
However,
should.
if you're married to somebody and trust is not in the picture, then why did you even get married?
Yeah.
Alright, so think about that for a while before you, if you're not married and you're planning to get married, ask yourself that question: do you trust that individual that you're planning to get married with? And every time you're having a conversation about money, hear what he post. Listen, that's so important. Why get
Hmm.
married and you don't know what happened when you get married? This is the same thing you avoid, come back and juke you, and then you have problems that you should have not.
Major problems.
You understand? So we're saying to you, look at it before you get into it. So back on whether or not the man should be the head of the home. If the man is responsible enough, then I will say fine. Fine. If he is an analytical and still amiable person, and he's still a kind of driver in a sense that he's looking for opportunity to invest. He's looking at things and he has a better overview and a better mindset towards money, then let the man handle the money. But if the woman is that person, then for the betterment of the relationship,
Yeah.
if you figure you be honest with yourself, in other words. So if you figure you is a kind of man, anything that somebody a friend say, yo bro, they go and buy this, you're in already.
Hmm.
Then ask your wife for a budget on a month. Then she put some money on her account with a card for you. You understand what I'm saying? And she give you. If you blow it out in a week, don't ask her for more.
Yeah. That is
That
it.
is an argument. This is my humble recommendation. But rightfully, the man's supposed to be the head of the home. And it tells women now, when you're looking for a man, what to look for.
These are things you have to pay attention to.
You understand? Look in look into what the words say, see how the man is, and make the right move. Don't go and
Yeah.
make no bad move, and man, you too. Don't make no bad move, and then tomorrow you're complaining. Watch, I feel you
Yeah.
need counseling. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? You might want to buy a car, all you up in a relationship, and it's not the best thing to do. But one, watching the friends having a vehicle and figure out I should get one too.
Hmm.
What are your priorities together? Before you get married, you should get married with priorities. Plan. 2 years time we want to accomplish this. This is our goal. So when you have that, in both of all you agreeing, all you could work together, hand in
Hmm.
hand, head in head. If that's a word.
Because that's your plan.
And that is your plan.
Yeah.
So if you don't do that, you end up in problems.
Yeah.
Me and my wife married 13 years this year. We never ever had a conversation, a quarrel, because we had this conversation prior to that. And I'm telling you folks, what does happen, as I was telling God the other day, is that things has changed. So you can see, because we plan it to work this way, you might start off with a joint account for a particular reason. That was best at the time that you have it that way. But I still believe you should have all your accounts joined. And if it means that a man knows, no, here's our priority each month. I to make sure as a man my family is properly fed, the electricity bills and the water and the internet and whatever bills, we working together. The money there is to take care of us as a family. We two shall become one flesh. We now join together. When we make our children, they come from us. We are in this together.
Yeah.
So we ain't saying that if the man need to buy clothes, you have to go and tell your mother, your wife, babes, I want to buy a jersey day as well as you could. If all they have that relationship, she might say, well, come on, man, go and buy. Or he might be the one telling her, well, babes, you need to buy yourself some shoes. When I meet you, you didn't have shoes. But not because he say, babes, go and buy shoes. She will say, wow, we clean out the account. If you're irresponsible, then as a woman, you might, he say buy shoes. I hear shoes, he didn't say how much.
Shoes are lying.
And then you have boxes of shoes coming, pack up in a corner, taking cobweb, you can't even wait.
Yeah.
So you have problem. You understand? So we say no, be reasonable, be responsible, use your brain, know what's important, prioritize, and make good movements with your funds.
Yeah.
Because when you don't have to eat tomorrow and you have a nice car, but all you have in your fridge is eggs and ice water, you're looking good to people on the outside, but inside you're hungry.
You're
Nobody
hungry.
can see what's going on in your belly. Your belly button, feed me. Spend. Yeah, and someone say that. I've been a bit dramatic.
Let me take in some comments, Sabi.
Right.
So Anika says, so he is the head.
Which one? You get that one. Oh, okay.
Right. So he is the head and the wife is the finance manager. Anik says, I agree. Men will go shopping and not think about the cost of an item. They will just buy it, but a woman will compare prices and go to the store where that same item is cheaper.
Anik are guilty. Me no time to check wrong to buy no thing.
No price.
You understand? The
last time I come for?
God, the last time I buy something for $9, my wife was mad at me. She said, why you spend all that money? Got $9. You spend all that money on this thing for? But no money had to spend all, and I can understand now.
Yeah.
My girl, like $9. Why you crying about $9? Why you making noise about $9?
Yeah.
But the point is, she did have a point, because you could have get it cheaper elsewhere.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes men being impatient. We don't want to go around. Yeah, we got come on, talk the truth, man. I don't know if you do that.
Listen, if I going to get a hammer,
Yeah,
I
you check
go
in
in
Hobart.
and once I see the hammer in Hobart,
you compare the price.
Compare the price. Well, if he have multiple hammers, they will compare the price on the shelf.
Right.
But I pick up the hammer and I gone.
Oh, you see what I'm saying?
I don't go in Hobart
and go in Ace.
Ramdani,
you understand?
On the spot to see who have it at the best price. Then you'll go down by M&N.
Yeah.
Nah.
See? So that's why my business is a good business, you know. I do enough for all here.
That one has come by you.
You understand? All the time, after help all save money, contact Easy Broking Services. Free advertising.
I go by you and let you do the work.
See, you got just say, right, go and look and see who give me the best rate for insurance, and we will sort that out.
Yeah.
You know, but definitely, I think it may not just be a man thing. Some men might actually say, like my partner Thompson would tell me, boy, go and compare the prices here and there. And when you tell me that, I just get upset. I don't want to go and compare no prices. I just want to buy the thing. The thing solve my problem.
Yeah.
My wife would say, nah, go and see if you get it cheaper there. But honestly, that's one of my weakness. I tell you all there.
Yeah.
The first person I pass by me, if all the thing and the thing is doing what I wanted, all you give me money.
True.
But I have to work on that, because I'm doing the opposite for a living.
Sure.
For people. That's done. All right. So I get my partner say so true. Couples need to know who is better to handle. Yeah, John. Good night. So let's take another scripture before we jump into other things, right? Because time running along fastly here. It's 1 First Timothy chapter 5 verse 8 says, "But if anyone does not provide for his own, if anyone does not provide for his not own,
Mm-hmm.
and especially for those of the household, of his household, sorry, God, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever." Some persons justify this scripture by concluding it is strictly a man's job to provide for his family. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I will say it is a man's job to provide for his family. You understand what I'm saying? I would agree with that. Um, as I said earlier on, why I agree with it, even if the wife and the husband have all the money in 2, 3 different accounts, I feel like as a man, it's your responsibility to ensure that your family is taken care of.
Yeah, everything is put in
You understand?
place. Yeah.
Even if you're telling your wife, "I need you to help me to pay these bills," or "I need you to help me to do this," we ain't saying be a dictator. And
Mm-hmm.
out in love and of just being responsible as a man. If your wife forgets something, you ain't supposed to forget it. You have to ensure you ask a question to make sure things are being handled properly and that your household stays settled. You understand? And in order. As I say, you don't want girl like turning off the light
Yeah.
because your wife forget. Now, man, I blaming you as a man. You have to ensure that the bill's paid. You understand what I'm saying, bro? So not because your wife is responsible for paying the bill every month, you turn and say, "Well, you are
Yeah,
irresponsible."
that your responsibility.
As a man, I don't believe your wife have to always tell you, "Buy that in the supermarket and bring home." You're supposed to be able to see what's going on in your house. You can, and then now you want to come home and want to say, "Well, you ain't no food here." You don't ask him, you don't tell me to get food, and you don't tell me to buy nothing. And in no house, so them fellas just come with the attitude. Boy, blame yourself. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You the head of this household. If you don't have food, you to be blamed. That's how I see it, guys. If others see it different, well, as I say, it's my opinion. Maybe that's how I live my life. My wife and I always tell me. In fact, she tell me go and buy bread and cheese in the supermarket, and I come back with her 2 bags. Every time I go to the supermarket, that has happened to me. Why? Because I'm thinking about tomorrow. They have to eat. I'm thinking about what needs to happen. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? That is why that has happened to me, God. Because again, my priority. You see what I'm saying? So that's my opinion. Because tomorrow they ain't gonna be saying eating and nothing here to cook. I could say when I buy stuff, so if I didn't have time to cook it, why eating cook for the children to have? Or some men
Mm-hmm.
blaming their wife and say, "Well, you lazy, you don't cooking nothing. Cook what you have." But what you have really?
Yeah, didn't bring
And you're
nothing.
married and you're having this kind of weird conversation with your wife. Who is to be blamed?
Yeah.
You understand? That's my opinion, people. Alright, remember we said in the beginning, a disclaimer. We don't have to take what we say. Alright? Everybody different. Keep that in mind. Don't go and quarrel with your wife partner and say, Sabi, say that's how you working on. You understand what I'm saying? Alright? So God, Thompson they try to jump the gun a little bit there with a virtuous woman, and this is a very good a virtuous wife rather. You know? Before we jump into that one, we just go through it. You wanna just jump through it real quick? We just go through it really quick
Yeah,
and
yeah,
take a
let's go
few.
through it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, a virtuous woman, Proverbs 31. We all hear about the Proverbs 31
31
woman.
woman, verse
So,
10.
ladies, as you read, check and make sure you're lining up. She's a wife of noble character, right? Um, Verse 10 says she is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value.
Oh, what a woman.
She brings him good, not harm, all
Mm,
the days of her life.
mm-hmm,
She selects wool and flax and works with eager hands.
mm.
So she's industrious.
Yeah, boy.
She is like the merchant ships, bringing her food from afar.
Far.
She gets up while it is still night. She provides food for her family and portions for her female servants.
Mm,
She considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her task.
mm,
She sees that her trading is profitable
mm-hmm,
and her lamp does not go out at night. In her hand, she holds the distaff and grasps the spindle with her fingers.
fingers.
She opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy.
Balance.
Yeah. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet.
Mm-hmm.
She makes coverings for her bed. She is clothed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is respected in the city gate, where
Oh,
he takes his seat among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies the merchants with sashes. She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come.
come here. That woman is a planner, boy.
She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness.
Idleness.
Her children arise and call her blessed, her
Bless.
husband
Husband
also,
also.
and he praises
Praise
her.
her.
Many women do noble things,
But
but
she
you surpass
surpassed
them
them
all.
all.
Charm is deceptive, and beauty
Beauty is
is fleeting,
fleeting. A
but a
woman
woman
that
who
fears
fears
the
the
Lord,
Lord
she shall be
is to be
praised.
praised.
Yeah, honor her for all. Yeah, honor
That
her for all
that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city
city
gates.
gates. Yeah.
Yeah,
So what a woman.
yeah.
Is it what a man, what a woman.
What a woman.
You understand? So ladies, all you should check out that, and men check out the portion in First Timothy chapter 5 verse 40. All right,
Yeah.
and try to do some more. Specifically, well, I wouldn't say young men, but I still think like young men, it is good to have some principles that you would follow as a young man. Have an idea
Mm,
when you get married, what you would like your relationship to be like, and it's never too late. Sometimes you might be doing certain things in your relationship, and you realize you're married and you're in that relationship, but you're having some. Every time money issue come up, man, you're having problems.
yeah.
You have issues. The money thing always causing you and your wife or you
Always,
to have some
always.
kind of problem. You know what I mean? So you have to. I personally don't like no confusion and argument. So there's a solution to it. You need to find it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Find something you could agree on and work together on. You know what I mean? Got to get a call, boy. That person had to share, boy. Praise God for that caller. Call a hold a second. We have to set you up. 1 second if you're hearing us. Just hold on for me a second, please. Stay on the line. All right, caller. Good evening. You're live.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you for calling Hope FM. You want to chime in on the discussion?
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
If the man is the head and the provider, shouldn't he be solely responsible for providing a home for his family and food while the woman manages the household? I mean, we're talking scripture.
Okay, got.
No, no. What I would say on that,
Mm-hmm.
that might have been the ideal situation, but how much or how many women do you know today is really willing to sit down home
I
and
let
look
a
after the
man.
household and let the man alone bring in the financing? Right? I from my outlook, with all that is happening in the world today, women want to go out and earn.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They want to go out and earn as well. Now, people's needs and desires have increased. So it could be a situation where the man could provide, for the household, provide housing, everything, but the means, the amount he might be able to do
Might need to
is
cover
might be
everything.
low what you or the family,
Really
the,
requires.
the kind of comfort that the family wants to live in.
Mm-hmm.
So the woman or the wife chooses to go out and make money too, so we can have a better
Better
life
life.
as a married couple.
So, question then.
Mm-hmm.
If he is to lead and he is to provide, not in a dictatorship way, but doesn't he set the way that his family goes, such that the needs or the wants now does not become beyond his means? I mean, we're talking fully scripture here. We're not working with how the world is going. We're talking about how it's supposed to be. So if he works for $1,500, we can't want a home that's a $3,000 mortgage home.
Right.
We work with the $1,500. Now, when I talk about the woman manages the household, I'm not talking about stay at home. She goes out and work and she manages her household, but we're talking about a provider. We're not saying the man, the Bible didn't say, or we're working with what you guys are saying, doesn't say the man is part provider. It says he is the provider. So let's take it word for word, precept for precept. So if he is the provider, let him provide.
That's a very good point, eh?
It's a good point.
It's a very good point.
I will leave at this point.
All right, great. Thank you for calling and for your comments, and you sharing with us. Thank you. All right. Yeah, God. So, what I would like to say on this question is that, boy, would you blame the woman for not finding a man that can take care of her? And should a woman look for a man that can only take care of her?
You know, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. But as the caller said, as a man, you're setting the tone.
With your responsibility,
you understand?
To be responsible for providing.
So I am providing, and this is what we can afford. This is the lifestyle. Yes, we can afford with what we have coming in. We get another call?
Yeah. We get another call. Let me take this call.
So we are going to be content.
With whatever we have.
With what we have.
All right. Good evening, caller. Your life.
Good evening. I have a little, I'm not sure it's a question, but I have a little to add to that, to what the caller was saying a while ago. I'm just wondering, when God created Eve, all right, when God put Adam to sleep and he made Eve, he gave Eve to Adam for a reason. It was companionship and also for her to be a helpmate. Now, if Adam is struggling, or if a man is struggling to provide for his family, all right, his family has needs. Let's suppose they might have a sick child who requires X amount of money every month to take care of, all right, because of their condition, all right. They may also have other needs based on, the house. So they may have bills and his salary cannot or does not cover those things. The wife is the helpmate, all right. So is the wife to go out and earn and say, okay, this is just my money, you are the provider. You take care of all the bills. What kind of relationship is that? It's a selfish kind of relationship. So I believe that when you are married, you work as a team. God made Eve as a companion for Adam and a helpmate. So if he needs assistance, all right, in any way, she is there to help him. Don't leave him there to struggle and look, you have to buy everything. You are the provider. So you have to, that's a selfish kind of relationship.
All right.
All right. And as Brother Gat was saying, the world, and when I say the world, I'm not talking about the system. I'm talking about the place where we live. All right. Things are no longer the same like in Bible days. All right. So let us not make things too literal. All right. We have to learn to search the scripture and apply it to our lives today. People use donkeys and so to travel. We don't use donkeys to travel anymore. We have to learn to apply the word to our lives today. All right? And be wise with what we say. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you, caller.
Well, God, even if we went back to the portion we just read a while ago before we take in the comments that is coming in there, you would also realize we were talking about a virtuous woman, the Proverbs 31 woman. Some of the things that is mentioned there, and the question you might want to ask yourself is it applicable today? I know God's word is truth, and that's why I was saying, yes, it's a man's responsibility to make sure things are happening in his home. You understand what I'm saying? So even if it is a case where the money that he's using, and that's why I said, if the money is our money, because we are one flesh, we are thinking about each other, we're not selfish in our thinking and our ways, then if we are thinking my interest is your interest, then you don't put the money above the person. The person come first. So if you have that mindset and that attitude where my husband, he is in a good place, my wife, she's in a good place, I put her there, you understand, where she's supposed to be, if you check what I'm saying. And not my money first. The money now is supposed to serve us. And then we spoke about stewardship before when the caller was speaking a while ago. That's all I could have here in my head. Being a good steward. Because sometimes it might just be, even though you have the money, and I don't want to go away from what she's saying. She's just mainly speaking about should the man be the one that is the head
Provides,
and
yeah.
how he takes care of things. Yes, he should be. But the problem sometimes is some women don't allow men to be. You understand? But sometimes some men just pour at it too. So that's why there's no fixed way. I would say there's no fixed way. You have to analyze what you involve in your relationship, your marriage. Before that, these questions should be dealt with.
Yeah.
Don't go into it saying, I expect my husband to be that person. As well as you can, but at least tell the man up front so you know what he into. Partner man, you have to be this and that. This is what I
The
expect of you. Can you
expectation, yeah.
meet my expectation as a woman? And if he say yes and he accept the challenge, then I will blame him for making promises he can't keep. You're trying to fool the people, children. What going on with you, boss? You can't. No, don't do that. Cut on the mic. Why is that on, boss? You have anything to add before we take any comments here, Renee?
Let's go with Renee.
All right, good show.
All right. Renee says, good point, but God's wisdom prevails with regards to finances. In some cases, some women are placed in a position where they own more than their spouse, and that's where joint finances comes into play. The two becomes one financially as well. Yes, the man is the main provider, and his role does not change with his finances.
His financial status, yeah.
Because his finances and the wife's finances are now one, so it should be their money.
Yeah. So Renee, do you agree that it's best to put the money together and have one mindset, achieve goals together and dreams together, plans together, plan and work out the plan rather than, you see, when you go into a relationship, I feel like when you go into a relationship with the I mentality, you're not ready for a relationship.
That is mine and that
No,
yours.
man, you can't go. Listen, it's amazing you have some people who are thinking, okay, I'm well off, I'm well educated, I have a good job, I'm making money as a woman as well as a man. And I don't want to have to be going and build nothing with nobody. I'm going to build my own house. And yes, nothing wrong with that. But you see, if you decide to share it with somebody, please note that you decided to share it with somebody, regardless if the person didn't work for it. So if you do decide to share to somebody and the person is there, don't treat the person like, okay, and I'm talking about your husband or your wife in this case, right? So don't treat the person like if, well, that was my land and that's my house and you come here and you have this big wall up from the beginning. Like you feel you just come in and just lie down on bed and sleep. Well, you wanted the company, you was the one feeling cold at night and you say you want a little warming, so you pray to God and you answer your prayer. Now you get a husband and you're still saying, well, partner man, you need to build your own house too because I have mine already. You're pressuring the man. If all they want to decide, well, he's well off and we can afford our next house as an investment, then you come together in a common space and you work towards that. The point is, when you're married and you come together, the more you can work together, the better your relationship will be. And of course, whatever model you choose, at least choose a model that doesn't leave one begging and hungry, feeling like he or she is less. Or you're equal.
Yeah.
One flesh. One flesh.
To become one.
One money. You understand? One faith, one baptism. Got to you're not long hard for time, but you press on to like 7 to 29, but what you doing?
Yeah, we're going, man.
Yeah,
We're
but now
going.
part two. Let's go, man. Let's go. We might even take all the material here tonight.
Yeah, it might.
But
But based on the rest of the material, I believe
yeah,
it might be best for us
to go through.
yeah, let me go through.
All right.
So just to recap some of the main points we discussed so far.
Mm-hmm.
So the couple needs to discuss their finances. This includes discussing their debts,
Mm-hmm.
savings, investments, accounts. All these things should come out even before you get married.
Mm-hmm.
All right. To come up with a family budget, which will which we will take a bit later.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They need to discuss things like insurances. A lot of times people they don't even discuss life insurance. Which spouse life insurance policy might be the better one
Yeah.
to be on. That's health insurance. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
life insurance. Do we have life insurance, etc. Next, you need to discuss your financial goals and priorities, and that comes back to the personality.
Mm-hmm.
Purchasing a home, that's something that most, if not all, couples they want to do.
Yeah.
That's a major financial undertaking as a couple. Are we ready to do that? What plans do we need to put in place, etc.? Do we want to live a debt-free life,
Mm-hmm.
not owing anybody?
Mm-hmm.
Children,
No monthly commitments. I like that. Yeah, man.
children. Due to the cost of it is costly to take care of a child or
Mhm.
children. So are we prepared for that? A
Are
lot
they
of times
financial
people say they
responsibilities?
just
Yeah.
want it ready for
For
a
a
child.
child, but did you sit down and count the cost?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and it is something that will affect your
Much
finances.
less having three.
Sabi, career changes,
Mm-hmm.
right? Further in your education.
Mm-hmm.
All of these are things that the couple needs to discuss
Yeah.
and make sure they're on the same wavelength, because sometimes, Abby, you might be saying, watch, I want to set up a business,
Mm-hmm.
or I want to go and further my study. You're going to take care of $50,000, $70,000 to go and do that,
Right.
right?
And that's a long term plan you have
A
from
long
since you
term.
had a plan since
That's
you
the
before you
thing.
get married. Now you get married, you say now it's in your heart. I always want to do
I
that.
always wanted to do that,
And now you want your husband to support you and your wife to support you.
right?
But sometimes you can't afford it because you make some foolish decision prior to that. You didn't know how to set your goals in terms of order of priority.
Mhm.
So you see, it's important, guys. It's important. Newlywed planning to get married is important that you think on those things.
But also it might it might be taken away from something that we can do now.
Mm-hmm.
So whereas we might have gone to the movies every weekend,
Mm-hmm.
we now might have to give it up to do
Give it
something
up,
like
yeah.
that.
Instead of gonna buy dinner every Friday night in
You
a
know?
restaurant spending $250, you might just say to yourself, well, you will settle for one, and the balance. So you have to reorganize. That's why I say sometimes where you start is not where you have to continue all the time. So you have to pay attention to what is happening in your life as a couple and know when to make adjustments. God, you may
Yeah.
come to a point where you need to sell your car.
Yeah.
Or you need to sell some stuff. You need to sell some shoes. You may need to put some.
You're really on their shoes, boy.
Well, I mean, shoes kind of easy to see. You know what I mean? But you may need to sell something. You know what I mean? Even men, we may have some equipment and thing there too. We just have
just pack up
we
in
just
use
ain't
them.
doing nothing. We need to sell them things. So find money is to do. Because sometimes you'll be amazed, bro. The amount of money you have in your house sit down.
Yeah, just lying there.
You know what I mean? So as a man said, that's what things like eBay and in America, Craigslist and things they for in Grenada.
Yeah.
We had that we are yard sale.
Yeah.
So set up a yard sale, call to bridge and find what they have so you make the table look stocky and they sell not because the shoes. Alright, ladies, another loving shoes.
And next thing we discussed, your financial backgrounds. All right. It is important to discuss your financial backgrounds ideally before you get married. If it is not something that you would have done and you got married, it is still not too late.
Yeah,
Have
true.
that discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Right. One of the things we didn't go into much detail on, Sabi, is the budget.
The monthly budget.
It is recommended to have a monthly budget meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It is not enough to have a household budget. if you want the budget to be a blessing to your family, you need to develop it as a couple. This means setting a regular time each month where you come together to hash out the next month's budget.
Right.
It could be the first or the last day of the month, right? A monthly budget meeting can be as formal or informal as you'd like, but the following rules are non negotiable. There should be a time limit on the meeting. Both partners should be involved. Anytime you're projecting new or unusual spending over the course of next month, come prepared to deliver a proposal.
So you see, marriage is a business and all that. And our business need money to run. Anyway, don't say it like that. Marriage is a beautiful thing as God has created for us. But at the end of the day, it does need certain things to work. You understand? You might have a beautiful business idea, but you don't have finance to fuel it.
Yeah,
So all you have is idea. You understand? You want to go beyond just idea.
here's the idea.
And you need money to pay your bills and to be happy. So you see, it's important to know how to take care of the finances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next, a budget is a chance to look forward. It can also be a chance to review what happened the previous month.
Right.
But when looking back, avoid the blame game.
That's so true, bro. That blame game is the worst.
Yeah,
Because what you do is that you're beating down someone else.
true.
And if a man get it wrong and his wife, every time now he comes with a new idea, sometimes that might be just the one that works. But you budget for something before he try a thing and it didn't work. And funny enough, boy, the woman, if he said, or the man just block his ears, he just there listening to you and he ain't saying nothing. Because you know,
Nothing at all.
women are talkers. Most men are just kind of silent on certain things. So most men leave the woman kind of confused in his head, like, I don't know what she's saying there.
Yeah,
What's she really talking about?
I
You
can.
know,
After a long day, I
can't
listen
take
to
on that.
now, no?
So choose the time when you want to make your proposal, especially if you have a beautiful idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Remember the Proverbs 31 woman. She's industrious. She uses her hand. So the point we're making is sometimes, you need to. There are ideas you can do. So if you want extra, sometimes you may just you need to do extra to get extra. You understand?
True.
So you may need to invest in something, and you may just see a door or a way that the husband cannot see because he's not where you are. You understand? So what do? You show him, because you could sell the idea to him. Then if you get him to see it, or you get her to see it as a
Buy
man, then he buy in. And then all they do is say, okay, well, that sounds good. Then we make a plan. How much can we make from this? And you support each other. You understand? So if it's something you have to make and you can't make it, but a man could make it, then you go and buy the ingredients to make the thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And God go bless all here. All the financial situation go change. When all they start to work together in unity and peace and love, you would realize when we start work together, things just happen. You could look back now and you could learn from your history as to where you came from, how you dealt with that. There's something now, there's value in your family, there's something you can teach your children. You understand what I'm saying? You could teach your children this, and they can not make the same mistakes that you made. There you go, bro.
Yeah. So we're going to be diving in now to some examples as to how the monies can be managed
And you can see money management is very important. So let's talk about
on
that.
a monthly basis,
Right.
setting up accounts, etc. So the first one, as a new married couple, it might be better to have separate accounts. So here's why. Keeping separate accounts may be a comfortable starting point for many couples, especially when they are accustomed to managing their own finances and don't yet have many shared expenses.
Right.
When couples move in together, there will likely be at least some income differences, not to mention debts that may be brought into the relationship. Separate accounts actually mean more communication about who will be responsible for paying what. Some couples decide to split expenses down the middle, while others may be more comfortable paying proportionately according to what they earn.
Right.
A shared spreadsheet may be the easiest way to track expenditure, and using a joint credit card might be preferable. But here are some pros and cons, Abby.
Mm-hmm.
You are each responsible for your own spending. That's one of the pros. Your own spending habits and paying off any debts you brought into the
Right.
marriage. Provided you are both happy with how you've agreed to split the shared bills, this money management method is the most fair,
Fair. Mm-hmm.
and you may be less likely to argue over your spouse's spending habits.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the cons, keeping track of who owes whom what is a lot of work each month. This financial management method gets more difficult if children enter into the mix or if one of you wants to change careers or go back to school.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned that earlier. If you are both saving for retirement or goals based on your own incomes, you may not be optimizing your investments. Next, we have joint accounts.
Mm-hmm.
And this is along the lines of what Nautica,
Well, I alluded to earlier on.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
similar. In terms of simplifying your management style as a couple, this choice is probably the easiest, though there are some fine points to consider. No one needs to determine relative income payment levels. You don't have to update a spreadsheet each month,
Mm-hmm.
and all children expenses get paid out of the family account.
Right.
Budgets can be easily tracked on a spreadsheet um, that is available online. Some pros, it's easier to track budgeting and spending, plus, there is no monthly division of resources and no financial charges are needed as a family. Changes are needed as a family. Secret. And then we have with both separate accounts and joint accounts. So yeah, this is the one that Nautica alluded to. So
Right.
you have the joint accounts, and then still everyone has their separate accounts. Having both separate and joint accounts can be complicated, but it also may be the best solution for some couples. This method's idea is that all income goes into a joint account or accounts, and all savings, debt, and retirement are managed jointly. Besides, each individual has a private checking account into which a set amount is transferred each month. The personal fund can be spent on any wants or needs they have that aren't a joint expense, or on gifts for their spouse. This way, your spouse can never judge you for buying $400 shoes
Mm-hmm.
or top of the line headphones, as long as you pay for them out of your own
See,
account.
I was giving this some thought, and what came to mind was, and another thing I was giving some thought. I was asking my wife about that this morning, just the same, and that is, even if you have a family plan, do you think that what do you think? What do you think? And guys, you can share your opinion with us. Do you think it is best to, okay, you want to build a garage, you get an estimate from a builder telling you what's the cost of the labor and what's the cost of the material. Do you think it's best to save the money up and do one thing when you reach your money, when you reach your goal? Because you don't want to take a loan, so you just want to treat it as a project. So you do the maths and you realize, okay, that is $15,000. I work for X amount, I can save at least $700 a month or so, right? Should I go and buy stuff on credit or buy it as the time goes by, or do you think it's better to save the money and when you reach that place, then you do what you want to do? Or what do you think is best?
I would say it's based on how urgent you need to get a project off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
If it is something that can wait a year, a year and a half for you to save up the money,
Mm-hmm.
then it might be best to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's something that you need to do within the next 2 months or 3 months, it might be best to take the loan and you pay back the loan
Nah,
when the money.
not the loan, not the loan. You don't want
We
loan.
taking no loan.
Nah, is it that you save the money or you buy the stuff gradually? So you know you need 10 bags of cement, you can afford to use $700 at the end of the month. You buy that and you stock it away somewhere.
Yeah,
You
so
buy the gravel and you put it down. You buy the sand, you
Sometimes
put it down.
when you start to buy the material,
Mm-hmm.
somehow the thing does just multiply.
Right.
You understand? So
Do you think there's a pro and a con situation in that one?
yeah, because sometimes you buy the cement and it's sit down there for months and it get hard,
Mm-hmm.
right? Sometime in waiting to save up the money, the prices go up,
Mm-hmm.
things get more expensive.
Right.
You might have been able to buy a lot of the materials
Right.
month over month. Yeah.
And what if no, you were saving the money, but in the process of saving the money for something for the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
you boy, some emergency comes up, and that money comes in very handy right there.
Yeah.
So if you had the board in your hand, or then you decide to put it in the bush, and then something happens, but in the bush you can't convert the board again to based on what it is. You can't convert it then to get back the
Yeah,
same
take
money
it
that you
back.
had.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking at it from that angle.
Okay.
I would say yes and no. Maybe you could start something, but then you could probably keep some for the time where you could say, okay, no, I've put aside that money. It's a discipline thing. The point is, most people would say, take the road where we could put it down because they don't have the discipline to keep the money in your pocket or to keep the money saved in a particular place until that time come and keep adding to it and say
Yeah, each
nothing will
month.
cause me to touch it because I'm disciplined and know the reason why I have it there. But then again, you have to know yourself and work best for you.
Yeah.
And that's why conversation is important again in the relationship because the woman or the man might feel that this better way, God way is a better way, and I might feel my way is a better way. And both of you guys listening to us might say, well, Sabi way is a better way because I figure, yes, in case some emergency comes up, at least I have
You
that
have
money there.
something.
Because to me, I feel like life does have uncertain things that comes up and you need to get the funds. And you might say to yourself, well, if I didn't spend that money and put on that day, now I could have it to do that particular
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Especially when you have children. So that's why when we spoke about that before, that little video clip I did send one time talking about the various baskets that people should have is good. It's a good little concept. You could have a savings basket, you could have an investment basket, you could have a fun basket. So if your fun basket is $200 at the end of the month, that's my fun basket in the relationship. The point is we're not going over our limit. So if our budget or monies or income couldn't allow me 100 and you 100 to buy whatever you want, be it a piece of clothes or some food or something you like, or you have your 100. So your wife should be looking at your 100. If you cannot put everything in the same place and say let's prioritize and don't watch no face and feel a how because somebody feel like that person getting all and I ain't getting none, is always you and not me, then thing does cause problem in relationship too. So the point I'm making now, if you want to have a less conflict, you can say, okay, this is our finance here. We do our budget based on all we spoke about, the joint account, all of that. We cater for all the savings or insurance. We cater for all the things that we know we need that we consider important, and we must give them priority. But then I say, I say, well, listen, I want to have a little money for myself too, and you should too. So if the woman knows she want to buy 12 pair of shoes, but she didn't want to buy them in January alone, she saves she $1,200 and she buy her 12 pairs of shoes because I know shoes cannot cheap for a woman. Man can do that. We get about two possibly for that money, 2.5. You understand what I'm saying? That two meaning 2.5 meaning two good authentic shoes and one Chinese one for the change or Indian one for the change. You get what I'm saying? So if that's the case, then you save, you give her opportunity to put aside she $100 or you save your $100. When the end of the year come, or she decide to put aside 100 for 4 years because she has some big things she want to buy and she waiting patiently. The point is you have a plan. So then you don't watching what babes, your money growing real big. Watch that. I see you know, using it. Oh, give me a portion, partner. You're out of place and you're bright.
Yeah.
Don't do them kind of things. Neither you, woman. Don't try that too. You understand what I'm saying? But find things that could work. You know what I mean? Find things that could work. And sometimes some men just don't need nothing. They have enough. They could take care of the family. The wife, they weren't feeling nothing because, you understand what I'm saying? Except she have a different eye. She virtuous. She will say, well, I find you wasting money, brother. You see what I'm saying? You're just buying on useless thing. You're clogging up the house with a set of gadget. How much of them you could use at the same time? So you have to learn to be content. That's a very important word. Being contentment. The Bible declares what? Godliness with contentment is what? Great gain. So don't just go hard in buying a certain nonsense, wasting the money. Be good stewards of the money. We talked
Have
about
to. You
before,
have to.
you know.
You have
God go
to.
hold you responsible too, you know. All right, here
Yeah.
we go again.
Just include, well, coming to the end of all of that,
Mhm.
Sabi, there is no right way to
Mhm.
manage your finances as a couple.
Right.
But with communication, trust,
Key thing.
and a bit of planning,
Yeah.
those three things are key. Communication, trust, and planning.
Right.
You and your spouse can have a marriage that's free of conflicts about money.
Mm-hmm.
If you're struggling to come up with a joint plan that sits well with you both, seek the professional advice
Yeah, man.
of an advisor.
Mm-hmm. It makes a big difference.
It does.
I'm not a financial advisor. I know a little bit about money. God knows a little bit about money. By way of our profession, some things we had to learn. And experience is the greatest teacher. I would say, in closing, God's and my final words, that my parents never taught me much about money directly, but I've seen certain things. I never know who and most. I only saw my father was making by the way. He never come and tell me. Do you think as a child I'm supposed to know that? And they would say, what, daddy making real money was I could ask him for stuff. And then your children smart, they watching you when you're checking your bank account on your phone. You understand? Them boys and people, daddy, there's the bank account. Oh, First Caribbean Bank. Yes. Oh, that's where you put the money. You understand? But you have to teach them so that they don't grow up with a false concept as that they don't even understand. I think that's so important, God, that parents, when you're married and you have children, you teach the children how to deal with their finances. You know, in the Caribbean, what you recognize, and I don't know about you, but growing up, they only teach you to save because they're telling you about savings union in school.
Yeah, put your money in the bank.
You understand? But you know what my parents didn't teach me, bro. When I was young, guys, what I learned from them. They didn't tell me. They were saying put the money in the savings union. I invested since I in secondary school. In fact, only in secondary school because they would give me money for lunch, and I would save that money and buy peanuts. I pay $8 for the peanuts. I told you before, and I buy peanuts, package the peanuts, put in some bags, $1 for one. Do the maths and know I will make at least $68 profit on that when I sell it. Right, and it's not unjust. My scale balance, you understand, for the portion. Then I know I made back that money. I go and I buy double, and I grew up so. You understand what I'm saying? So I am man now based on I have developed certain things, but guess what? My parents used to be selling just the same. So if they have never been in that way, then I would not have been thinking that way. So I say they taught me some stuff that they didn't know they taught me. You understand? I see them do certain things, and the results. In fact, they would buy it and send me and sell certain things in the community. So when I see that, I say, oh, so that's how you're making money. You have to buy and sell. And you understand what I'm saying? But everybody mightn't be in that position. Some people may be different. And that's what we're saying. It's like, it's an individual and a personal thing. And that thing could be a good thing for me to bring into a relationship where a woman didn't see that way. Then I could tell her about it. You understand? Or my wife, I could tell her about it. And vice versa, she could tell me the other way. And we put our heads together and we get a beautiful product. We see results. We see a life that is progressing, not making bad financial choices and decisions that will lead you to be going under. You want to rise? I feel like each year you should strive to be in a better place. So what's your plan as a family? If you end the year on 40 grand last year, try your best to see if you could put 10 on it at the end of the year. So have a plan where you could put in your saving because you know you're getting older. And as you get older, a lot of things happen to your body. Your body don't react the way it used to before. So what's your plan for when you get older? Many couples are over 30 and don't even start having a retirement plan. They're even thinking about retirement. Everything is no. They don't have a life insurance in case one person drop off and you have children, as you was talking about, God. All of that is part of planning. They have vehicle and a brand new good vehicle because they can afford it to buy cash, but instead they buy third party insurance and say, a comprehensive insurance is too expensive. One accident, you have to go and fix, you have to come up with money. All that you save dwindle. Understand the purpose of things. And some people will say, so what happened when I buy health insurance and nothing happen? What happened if I buy life insurance and nothing happen? And a man asked me the other day, I say, thank God for good health, brother.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it sounds kind of cliche, but really and truly, thank God for good health. Because trust me, we prefer good health over the money.
Yeah.
Your health is your wealth.
You have to.
Doctor says so on Heavenly Medicine. Bro, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, it was a very interesting discussion. It was a very interesting discussion this afternoon. I think this is our longest program.
I just was about to say that the first time we go on so long, but thank God there's another program right after.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But the thing is, at the end of the day, finances, as the statistics, anyway, look, it will tell you, it is one of the leading causes of divorce in a marriage. Right? So it is important for us to communicate, plan, trust. All that needs to go into our finances. We need to be deliberate at it. We can't just leave it by the wayside. It has to be something that is discussed, something that you're open about, and something that you have a plan for.
Definitely.
Right? You must have that in place.
A plan is important.
Yeah, you must.
So, as a family, as an individual, as a young person, if you listen to this program, take heed to some of the things we spoke about and think about your future.
Yeah.
You understand? Have a plan. Come up with one. Even before you start, even if you're not or seeing anybody, not quoting anybody, you still have something to bring to the table. When you meet somebody, we could say, okay, and God have a way how sometimes He works things that He bring persons with common, the same kind of, you're on the same level, that's when He talks about being equally yoked. It could be unequally yoked with the finances is concerned, not necessarily because one person making more money, but because of the mindset towards the money and how you deal with the money. Some people, boy, the value that they put on money is like money is their God. And if I don't have money, everything don't going right. God, we could talk until 8 o'clock tonight. Now it's only 4 minutes to eat.
But Sabi, one thing I was looking for it here.
Yeah.
From the survey that I read, they say one of the most interesting takeaways from the survey is that those who say they have a great marriage are almost twice as likely to talk about money on a daily or weekly basis. Compared to those who rate their marriages as okay or in crisis. In other words, being on the same page with your finances is critically important to the health and longevity of your marriage.
Right.
Yeah. So if you and your spouse not talking about finances, chances are that it's either in crisis or it's just okay.
You should talk about money every month, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we want to thank you all for taking the opportunity to spend the past almost 2 hours with us. It's an absolute pleasure sharing with you guys this evening. And this was Money Talk episode 25. As we say, we're not sure what 26 will bring, but we'll see what God has in store and what He wants us to talk about.
Definitely.
So, in the meantime, you can still take this opportunity to continue to listen to Hope FM Grenada, www.hopefmgrenada.com. Our frequency on air, if you can get it, is 103.1 FM. Also, you can share our live stream here on Facebook, and also on YouTube. You can check us out, Hope FM Grenada, Facebook or YouTube. All right. So, God bless you guys and have a blessed night.
All right. Yeah. Good night.
So, there we go. This one was what God? We had to sit down together, boy. Money, marriage and money.
High on praise and exaltation. We are Hope 103.1 FM.
Hope is rising. Tell everybody.